Welcome to the best of ZTOTV podcasts. I'm Frank, and we're going to go down the top 10 most popular episodes of the week, I guess. This isn't going to be a weekly podcast. Do not get me wrong. This is going to be whenever I feel like doing it. This is going to cover the top 10 most downloaded episodes according to our Podbean analytics. We're going to go through these from 10 to 1, a little clip from each one. I'm going to give you a little introduction for each clip, and we'll have some fun, hopefully, Thanks for listening to ZTOTV podcast. Make sure you subscribe. You can listen to us anywhere. We're on Spotify. We're even on Bandcamp if you want to check out our back catalog of episodes from all these different shows that we put out. Let's kick it off with number 10. This is a classic episode from a couple years ago. It was released on February 26, 2018, and it's an old ZTO radio episode. This show was one of my favorite things to do. We have, it started out with me and Scott. Scott Kramer was my co-host. We'd have some fun discussion. I'd throw in some local music. It was really fun and easy. And the bands that we played loved it. And then we had Carrie come on board. We put her in charge of the show. And she was doing some great work. But it became really hard to play even local music on our episodes without it getting blocked on YouTube and stuff for copyright things. Because, if you're a band and you're trying to sell your music, you put it on all these different sites, it gets copywritten, and then that causes issues. Even if the bands wanted us to play the stuff, we couldn't, it was blocking, they were muting our videos and stuff because of it. So it was just a lot of headaches, so we canceled that show. We're still supporting, local musicians and stuff. We'll have them on, Time for Tacos or Takeover, and we're going to be there to help. We'll eventually have Gromy Show coming back. You know what we do. But this is an episode called A Country Truck Musical. We wrote a little musical about my shitty truck, which I still drive to this day. It doesn't have the gravelly brakes anymore, but it's still got a lot of problems, Check it out. One thing that might be funny to write a musical about's my truck, because it's fucking keeps falling apart. Recently,
you'd have to do it in country music accent. It'd have to be a country music.
Oh, that's a good idea. I could write a country music song about it. Let's lay out the problems. With my truck. I'll give them to you, and we'll write a song. Let's see. Its brakes sound like they're made of gravel. So that means my brake pads are going. Pretty soon the rotors are going to start eating away. Another thing that recently happened was when it was really cold and my door was frozen with ice. I went to open it, like how you grab it to crack the ice off. You're like, and when I did that, the whole fucking sumbitch came out. So now it's got a loose handle that you got to push down on to open the door, or you can do what I did originally before I knew you could do that and climb in through the other side, and which you have to get in the motherfucker because it's a Republican truck. I don't know if you ever drove a Republican truck or know what a Republican truck is, but around here, and when I say around here, I mean me. I refer to it that way because I feel like I'm a Republican dude when I drive it around. Like, I feel like I should be listening to AM radio and some sort of conservative radio, talk radio. And then I should have a gun rack up there, and it feels like I'm gonna go be racist or something. So, but I'm not, because I'm not that kind of guy.
So Alex Jones in the truck wouldn't be too far off.
But what else?
That's a problem with you kids nowadays.
Is that all that's wrong with it? No, the windshield wipers don't work because it was frozen that same day. And I went to turn them on, and evidently that burned the motor.
No more.
There you go.
You got a lot of material.
My windshield wipers don't work no more, like that old drunk whore at the dollar store.
Got my brakes sound like...
Hold on. That's a gold line, dude. My windshield wipers don't work no more, like that old drunk whore at the dollar store. And I'm sitting here all weekend just drinking a beer. Right?
Drinking the beer.
'Cause 2018's my Republican truck year.
Brakes sound like gravel. Makes it hard to travel.
Oh, shit. You tell me country music ain't easy to write. We just wrote a fucking top 10 song, man. God damn it.
And brakes sound like gravel. Ain't hard to travel. Gotta get in through the side of the open door.
Now, see, that we're just writing silly songs about my truck. That's not what country is about now. It's about a love. Like, if you want to write a top 10 country song, you got to do what we just did.
What if I'm in love? I'm in love with the truck. No, come on now. Come on, think about it. Think about it.
We got to get the truck out of there because that's not what the girls that wear the fucking Daisy Dukes in the boots buy.
No, but that's the guy that's drowning himself in the bar.
We want these songs to get the ladies off the bar stools and the men to get up and they'll do weird white people dancing. So we got to talk about love. It's got to be like something tropical kind of, because that seems to be like the thing they like to do, like kind of mix a little bit of that Margaritaville kind of flavor.
Yeah, but we gotta get looking up at the stars.
Yeah.
And something about a Friday night. You gotta have Friday night in there. Yeah. Friday night's gotta
Friday night in the tangerine sun, dream your hair was like my wife. I don't know what that means.
It doesn't matter.
Your hair was like my wife. God damn it, we write some good shit on here, man. We need to write more songs. Anyway. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that clip from our old episode of ZTO Radio. It was always fun doing that show, but I don't miss all the headaches that it brought on. So, that's life. Sometimes you have to let a podcast go. If you love a podcast, let it go. That's what I always say. Anyways, let's move down to number 9 with Schlockfest episode 26. This is a newer release. This just came out. It's actually the last thing I put out on the channel. And it's My Boyfriend's Back? Question mark. Yeah, so it's kind of a running joke on Schlockfest that Jean Paul picks most of the movies for the show. Every once in a while, Ray gets to pick one. Essentially, the idea is Ray doesn't really like schlocky movies, and Jean Paul does, and he's just trying to kind of torture him. And sometimes it backfires, and Ray actually likes the movie. It's a unique concept, but it's this running joke where they'll be set up to watch My Boyfriend's Back. It's a 90s rom-com zombie movie. It's a fun movie. I always enjoyed it, but John Paul never actually goes through with the review because he switches it up halfway through. Now, does he do it on this latest edition? He's done. If he does it on this one, it will be the third time that he's done it. I'm not going to give it away. Just check it out.
We are going to do My Boyfriend's Back.
All right. It's been 1 year.
You excited?
I am excited. I like this movie. I'd seen it a long time ago when I was a kid.
So let me just quickly give you a synopsis. Basically a teenage boy is in love with this girl named Misty, and she thinks he's the most beautiful woman in the world, and then he dies and becomes a zombie. Short and sweet. Short and sweet synopsis. Came out in August 6th of 1993. Budget was $12 million. So it's not bad. It grossed $3 million, so it made no money. So, like most of Schlockfest, they don't really know how to make their money back.
They become cult classics later and loved by everyone.
Exactly. So anyways, I know you've been waiting for this one for a while, like our fans have. But, I've decided I'm going to be a dick again. I'm not going to do that to you.
You're going to do a year later joke again and not do it again?
That's right.
Yeah. That's why we're friends. That's why we're friends right there. I love it.
And this is why you're going to hate me now.
Uh-oh.
Because tonight's wonderful viewing is its own kind of version of a cult classic, full of debauchery and murder, and the new drug called marijuana. That's right, folks. We are watching Reefer Madness, the movie musical.
I've seen this live actually a long time ago on a stage production.
Oh,
I didn't know much about it. I seen the black and white video clips when I was a kid, but yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great.
well, this is the musical, so you're going to just love it even more.
Yeah, I bet. The stage production I saw was also a musical.
Well, there you go.
So,
It came out April 16th of 2005, so, you know, it's a more recent movie for you,
okay,
so it's not terrible.
let's
We're
see
gonna
here.
put the little trailer of it so you can see a little clip of what you're getting into.
You have been convicted and sentenced to death by electrocution. Any last words? Well put. Pull the switch. In 1936, a madness swept the teenage world. An evil so insidious, so seductive, that even its name, marijuana, struck fear into the hearts of the citizenry.
Public enemy number one.
Forsooth, fair Juliet.
Are you trying to woo me?
Now, two young sweethearts, Mary Lane and Jimmy Harper,
Hey kid, I'm Jack.
will be caught up in the path of the evil demon weed.
This isn't that reefer I've read about.
All the rage in Paris.
Paris?
And drawn into a seamy world filled with decadence,
What a night. I was in more laps than a napkin.
corruption,
Are you putting on weight?
Lately, I seem to be hungry all the time.
good girls gone bad,
Tonight you and me are gonna break out like the measles.
and some very rude behavior.
Shut up, bitch! I feel a little naughty. We'll play with whips and nipple clips and candle wax.
Jack, this is Satan.
Mug's wound up like an 8-day clock. One too many giggle sticks.
You better put your flaps down before you take off.
Whoa! That was your tongue! Wait till that Susie Mayberry hears about this.
Kristen Bell, Christian Campbell, Nev Campbell, Alan Cumming, Anna Gasteyer, John Kassir, Amy Spanger, Robert Tordy, and Stephen Weber in the outrageous new feel-good musical comedy of the year, Reefer Madness. Save the country! Only on Showtime.
Of course, that'd be a Showtime feature. Looks like shit.
And now on Schlockfest.
Yeah.
All right, up next, we got number 8, Exploder Wrestling Podcast. This is a show hosted by Dan Fraley, a local comedian and friend of ours. For many years now, he hosts the Shitty Prize giveaway at our Gromy Show events, and, you know, he does stand-up, you know, all over the place. He has been doing a wrestling podcast for 75 episodes, which is probably the longest running consecutive show we have. This one is all about cancel culture, before cancel culture, wrestling ideas, gimmicks, things that went sideways, and it was kind of a cancel culture before cancel culture, like I just said. Anyways, check it out. If you like wrestling, you'll enjoy it. If you don't like wrestling, you'll probably still enjoy it. It's an entertaining show, and we're proud to have it on our network.
November 23rd, 1996, professional wrestler and psychopath New Jack carved up a 17-year-old named Eric Koulis because he was in the ring. There was a tag team match coming up, and a performer could not make the match. They were looking around to scramble to find somebody to fill in the tag team partners to face against New Jack and Mustafa, and they happened upon a 17-year-old kid named Eric Koulis, who was wrestling at the time as Mass Transit, a bus driver gimmick, because that's how you end up at WrestleMania. Anyway, he claimed to be 19 years old. He was 17 years old. He claimed to be trained by Killer Kowalski. He was not. And they decided to use him anyway. He proceeded to tell New Jack how things were going to be, and be honest with you, regular professionals, grown men, tell New Jack how things are going to be, and it doesn't end up well for them, so I don't think a Ralph Cramden gimmick in 1986 was going to fare that well. He made a horrible mistake of getting New Jack to cut him open, and New Jack did. He carved him up like a Thanksgiving turkey and proceeded to A, almost kill a 17-year-old in the ring, but also get ECW's Barely Legal, an upcoming pay-per-view in March of 1997, canceled. This is another example of something happening in the ring literally canceling a show. Now, this would have been detrimental to ECW. Barely Legal was that next step as a national promotion. They were a regional promotion. They were doing well. They had the ECW arena shows. They had the Florida shows. They had the New York shows. They were doing okay. But to go on pay-per-view was going to open up a whole new market, a whole new audience that was going to eventually lead to, hopefully, a national television deal. This was the next step. And New Jack, with his Wolverine-like intensity, I guess would be a way to put it, Wolverine as in the X-Men character, just cutting people up, not giving a shit, almost took that away from them. Eric Koulis would eventually sue. Somehow New Jack would get away from almost committing murder on television, and Mass Transit, or Eric Koulis as himself, would go on with his life and pass away in 2002, complications from gastric bypass surgery. This is another example of something being canceled by, literally canceled. Now, this was controversy. This was not an outcry. This was more of it wasn't really an outcry of the fans. It was an outcry of the networks, because they were sort of skeptical of putting ECW on their networks anyway. The pay-per-view providers were a little different back then, and they were sort of skeptical. And then you hear, oh yeah, this one guy carved up a 17-year-old, and people cheered it. Yeah, so that got them canceled. Now, I'm going to give 1996 a rest for a while and go all the way up to the far future of 2004, where former Ring of Honor owner and shoot interview connoisseur Rob Feinstein was caught in a To Catch a Predator type sting, where he was supposedly showing up to do, I assume, horrible things to what he thought was a teenager. I've seen the video of this. For all these years, man, I don't know. All these years, I would like to think he's not. I'd like to think that people in wrestling business don't put up with a guy who actually is like that, but it's he showed up to the house. Anyway, he would then sell his shares of Ring of Honor to Doug Gentry, who was his partner in our video, and Gentry would eventually sell those shares to Kerry Silken, and so on and so forth. I covered this in the Ring of Honor episode where I talked about Ring of History is the name of the episode, where I talk about the entire history of Ring of Honor to this day. After Feinstein left Ring of Honor, TNA, seeing the controversy itself, would pull their talent, which included guys like AJ Styles. They would pull him for a bit, they'd come back, but this is one of the things where this was a controversy that it was rightfully so. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, they shouldn't have. Yes, TNA especially at that time. Ring of Honor was right to get rid of Feinstein, because that would be a horrible albatross to have around your neck, as they would only been in business at that point for about 2 years, and for them to go, oh, by the way, one of your owners has been busted in this like sex predator sting. That's a horrible, horrible thing. So it's good to get rid of him. It was good to get rid of him when they did, and honestly, TNA was protecting their own ass. It was TNA's good idea to pull their talent from the show, because, well, why would you, if you're loaning guys out, if you have an AJ Styles and you're putting him on, on your shows, and you're on national television, and you're a big time, deal, and you're letting him work in this smaller company, and then this smaller company brings this controversy to you, and you didn't do anything about it, and your talent didn't do anything about it, that's just not good. And they pulled their guys. They would eventually put them. TNA would pull them again later when they went on pay-per-view for whatever reason, but this was actually in response to the controversy, and they were right to do so. July 4th, 2005, Muhammad Hassan, my God, there needs to be there needs to be some kind of media on this guy. This was Mark Capani, who was an Italian with a very dark tan, almost Hulk Hogan level tan, played a Middle Eastern character named Muhammad Hassan. He'd been doing well. He had done in-ring segments with the Hulkster at WrestleMania. He'd been a big star, and rumors indicated that he might have been in line for a world title match, a world title run even, at SummerSlam of that year. This would come to a screeching halt, as this character was a little too close to home. You remember I talked about in 1991 with Sergeant Slaughter turning on America and allying with Saddam Hussein, and then we ended up in war with Saddam Hussein, and that got a little close, and there were death threats. Yeah, take that, and then make it look like the guy that you're pushing on television is sympathizing with terrorists continuously during the first couple wars of the War on Terror. That's what happened here. They did an angle where a bunch of masked men attacked The Undertaker, as you do, and they carried Daivari, who was Muhammad Hassan's manager, I guess, and they carried him to the back with his arms out like in a cross position, making him look like they carry out martyrs. You know, the organizations, these Al-Qaedas and whatnot, carry out these people like martyrs, people who die for their cause. Now, this was taped, of course, on July 4th, 2005, controversial, and then they would air 3 days later on July 7th. The day it aired was the famous London 7/7 bombing, where terrorists bombed London buses. Yep, that's the end of that character. At that point, UPN decided, the UPN network, which they were on at the time, said, no more of this. I mean, there you have a guy who's basically showing a martyr and is getting really close to terrorism while terrorism is happening at the same time. And UPN pulled the plug and said, no more. No more of this. They would eventually burn off the character at the pay-per-view, where Muhammad Hassan would be basically killed by The Undertaker. I don't know how else to put it. They made it look like, outside of literally killing him, they did about as best they could, and the character disappeared from then on out.
All right, we're up to number 7 for this, I guess, the month of this month's favorites. This is the Time for Tacos podcast. I don't know how to explain this really. It's a show created by Ken Newman, who is our he's our photographer, but he's also a creative influence. He creates his own content almost always for the channel, which is a great collaborator, and he loves going to these live events and covering them and doing all kinds of stuff for the channel. He created this podcast as sort of just a talk show where they discuss different, local music, maybe sometimes, mostly like supernatural stuff or anything they're interested in, usually something of a darker nature. This episode isn't really about anything dark. It's kind of funny. Brad Richardson, Alan Bowman, I believe his name was, came on the show, and they were a little bit tipsy on Jägermeister. I'm not going to say they drank a whole handle of Jägermeister, but they might have drank a whole handle of Jägermeister. And they're just talking about a local event they're trying to get going in our area here around Kenton, and it's fairly entertaining just to hear these guys talk. Check it out.
Like, everything's changing every day. Nobody knows what they're going to wake up to the next day.
The people hasn't...
If you think you know what you're going to wake up till tomorrow, it may change 2 days later.
So 2 days?
And
that's not tomorrow.
5 minutes.
Right.
Like,
That's 2 days
benefit
away.
of the doubt. Like, I'm trying... Dude, I want to fucking bitch slap him just because I can. But, yeah.
You can
It's a good thing you're between the two here. We might have some problems.
Are you security here? I'm not worried about you, but her, like, I'm
scary. She is scary.
Don't start.
Shit.
Yes. But,
Drop a monocle.
No, it just, it saddens me. Like, these
I ain't going
times,
like that.
and it's fucking crazy. And I don't want to get into that shit,
Well,
but you wonder how many of these venues that are closed now are even going to be able to recover.
And a lot of them's not. And that's what saddens me.
Indiana.
That's what saddens
right across
me.
Indiana. Pierre's. Did they close down again, or are they opened up?
I don't know about it.
Because I know in the last 2 years they've closed down 3
they're
years.
done, dude. I think they're done.
Pierre's, yeah. Rest in peace, Pierre's. If it is, I'll check it out. I'm actually going to do the research on it.
Jerry, you got a shot. Hey, look at this motherfucker.
He poured himself one, but
hey.
Fuck you.
Hello?
Fuck the rest of you guys.
Hello? Are we recording?
Bartender.
Yep.
Sorry.
What's happened? Calm down.
It's too loud.
I got a whisper.
But
this motherfucker just cheated me out of his shot.
You gotta quit talking. What the problem is?
You gotta pour me a shot. That's what the problem is.
I'll figure it out.
But no, it saddens me what the world's become to.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not judging anybody. It's what it's become to,
Well, let's bring back to like what we have going on. I mean, we have things in motion. We have things in the works to bring back what we have left to salvage in the music industry. Yes. I mean, besides all these other venues, the smaller venues, putting up small shows, you guys got something in the works, don't you?
Well,
I had something to interrupt.
The wrong time,
no. We actually.
He's looking my Jaegers.
No, we actually have
Yes.
October 17th. Underground Terror 2020. October 17th. Wristbands right here. $10 a band. We have 5 bands. From not just local bands either. Before you guys think that. It's all over Ohio. We have Cleveland. We have Dayton. We have Lima. We have... Where's the other one from?
Basically, Dunkirk.
Okay, Dunkirk. Finley. And
Bluffton.
we have the stage set. We have the musicians set. We have a food truck that's going to be there.
Yeah,
the Melt Bar.
The food truck. Who's the food truck?
All right, the Melt Bar. Tony Brown. And they do basically grilled cheese, but they do every type of grilled cheese.
They was actually on the Food Network channel.
Food Network. They was on Food Network for Carnival Foods. They have Philly grilled cheese, all kinds of grilled cheese, macaroni grilled cheese. And didn't you tell me about a new one?
Actually, they was going to debate this new thing for Mansfield, secret location. And they was going to do this new product for that place, but it got canceled because of the COVID-19 and stuff. So they're going to put it out at our place.
That's
on
amazing.
October 17th, they're going to debate it, and it's a secret
That's going to be awesome.
And
I'm excited.
All right, up next we have Getting Learnt in the number 6 slot. We've only released one episode of this show so far, and it's all about Ohio. The show is a Hinodis production and is hosted by a hamster and a turtle. I know there's a lot of questions about why it's a hamster and a turtle, but you should just let it go and have fun. It's a hamster and a turtle. Enjoy.
Well, have you heard of the Black Swamp?
No.
That's Ohio. And if you look on the flag, because another interesting thing about Ohio is that we're one of 2 countries, if you want to call Ohio a country, and again, I'll get to that later.
It's apparently not.
But Nepal is not a rectangular shape as well as Ohio. It's the only 2 flags in the whole world that have non-rectangular flags.
But do they even fly the flags in like a world setting?
They do. Well, not Ohio, but maybe.
Well, the United States. So
yes,
Nepal's the only thing showing up at like the UN. With
exactly.
A weird shape.
But Turtle, if you look at the flag and you see that big old O looking thing on the left, that's also represents Ohio, like the O of Ohio. It's like a Buckeye, what a Buckeye nut looks like, as well as supposed to represent the Black Swamp. Because it was just such a massive swamp.
The Black Swamp.
I'm dead serious.
Big
Look it up.
Blocko that we got is the Black Swamp.
The Black Swamp.
I think I'm gonna start calling the football team that. People are gonna get mad. No, you don't even know, man. You know that big O you got? That's called the Black Swamp.
The Black Swamp, Ohio.
I know it's red, but
Black Swamp University.
All right, coming in at number 5. This is a show I co-host with my friends Jason Miller and John Walmsley, and it's a horror show. It's the last Roundup horror show, to be exact. This is our most recent club episode. They are more of a... We mix it up. We do reviews sometimes. Sometimes we do brackets. We always have trivia. We do a show and tell segment. It's not our regular episode. It's more like a bonus episode of the show. But check it out. This one we play an RPG game that I created. We review Tales from the Crypt, the 1972 movie, and we engage in some fun trivia, of course. So dig it. I thought it was so funny that all these people just are on a tour of a mausoleum, of a crypt,
right?
And they're not ever like, how the fuck did I get here? Why am I doing this? Like, I was literally just trying to leave. The one guy especially, I was literally just trying to run off with my mistress, and here I am, just, I guess, crypt. But
but it's also, as you're confused, or I'm confused as well, is the audience. Like, you're just like, what's going on now? Like, you have no idea. Like, it's a little disorienting right at the beginning because it just starts. That's it. Like,
well, there is that long intro over the graveyard with.
Oh my God,
organ
these
music.
organs too.
Loved it.
Oh,
You guys
God.
like organs?
Minor.
You guys
They're
like
so
organs?
loud.
Do you?
Love it.
Oh my God.
Love it.
It was
It is
so loud
so
though.
scary.
Like I don't know the levels on Tubi. I don't know what Tubi has to offer, but like, God, it is not.
Oh, it starts out
not,
max volume. You got to adjust
Oh
that
my
shit.
God.
It's max volume if you're not paying
Yeah,
attention.
I'm just like shit. Like the organs blew into my head.
All right, coming in at number 4, we have another episode of Time for Tacos. This is episode 9 called Catholic Secrets. This is where, funny thing about this, we recorded it twice. The first time we recorded it, Mike Taco McLean wasn't available, and his girlfriend Amber was also not unavailable. And Ken felt that there just wasn't enough pepper on the original episode, so we went ahead and recorded it for a second time, and they discuss all the different various secrets the Catholic Church has been keeping, and a little conspiracy theories about, how they hold knowledge so secretive. So check it out, and make sure you subscribe to the channel if you don't already. Thanks.
Have you guys heard the rumor that the Grand Grimoire is in the library? Grand Grimoire.
Yes. Get
Yeah,
on
I've
that.
never heard
Let's
of
talk about
that.
that.
What is that?
Nobody knows what that is?
No.
Go ahead, Jim. Go ahead, Jimmy.
I know what a
Okay.
grimoire is, but I've never heard this.
Yes,
the
go
Grand
ahead.
Grimoire is considered the second most powerful book to ever have been written, second only to the Bible.
Damn.
And it contains instructions and tells people how to create amulets, magical talisman, cast spells, summon supernatural beings, make a pact with the devil, and summon Satan to earth.
Yes, this is supposed to be Satan's Bible.
Is that what they're hiding there?
Oh.
It's been rumored that, yes, the Grand Grimoire is there.
Maybe that's why so many bad things happen there at the Vatican, because they got that evil-ass book in there, you know what I mean? Like, it's just bleeding into the fucking Pope.
That makes
The
sense.
Pope can't even help it. Before he goes there, he's probably just a regular dude like Kenny. 2 weeks into the Vatican, he's like, nice butt, little boy.
Oh
my God.
You know what I mean?
I want to hear your guys' opinion on something. So those books that they have in the Vatican, they're probably not just from, like Western history. Do you guys feel that since they were written by humans, that everybody should have access to them, that they shouldn't just own all of that knowledge?
Yeah, I agree. They
Because
should not.
It's possible I that would they totally have, agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
They have books that contain people's lost cultures and religions, like, the 57 miles, like who knows what books they have in there. I think
But,
that everybody should have access to them.
The big caveat is everything is in Italian and Latin.
Yeah, so it makes it hard. It makes it hard to
Interesting.
interpret because
And
not
some of
everybody
it's
can.
difficult, yeah. In my own research, I had found that they were trying to use computers and things to read some of the documents and
Damn.
some of the script. So hard that even some of the computers and stuff we have now, it's not even possible to decipher what they say.
Is that really the Vatican right there?
Yeah.
Woo.
It's amazing. It has so much documentation that's hidden away that they don't let us have access to, which I think they should, because unlike anything else we have going on now, knowledge is power. And if they're holding all that knowledge, just think of how much power they're trying to hold over the people.
All right, coming in number 3. What the fuck did I just watch? Episode 5. This is the season 1 closer for the show, and the final episode that Ray McGuff will be joining Jean-Paul and Jenny on. They did V the miniseries from 2009, and that's kind of bookending their first season very well because they started it with the original V series from the 80s. So, great way to come back around and compare and contrast. Check it out if you like science fiction. The first season is available on Bandcamp. You can download the whole thing. Check it out. It's one of the most solid first seasons of any podcast we've released.
The overall idea of an alien invasion and what we would do, the idea itself to me is very, very cool. This is a neat version of what would happen. The other one's a neat version of what would happen. Independence Day is a neat version of what would happen. I honestly think it would be more just terror and then death. There wouldn't be a lot of fucking around if it actually happens. But it's neat. And what was the other one? It would be Mars Attacks. I like that. Aaron England said, Frank said it would be Mars Attack. I agree.
Especially with this administration, it would just be like,
yeah, there would be a huge misunderstanding, and we would all die. For
not
sure.
even a misunderstanding. Shoot it! Oh shit, we can't
Yes.
shoot it. I don't know what to do now.
No. But anyways, I like I said, I like the idea, the overall idea of it. I just wish this would have been done differently. But isn't that the thing? That's what I've learned out of doing all these podcasts about entertainment, is it's never the way that you want it to be, unless it's something that is the way you want it to be, right? I love The Thing. Why? Well, it's exactly what I want it to be. I don't like the reboot. Why? Because it's not really what I wanted it to be. You know, it's all open to interpretation.
All right, here we are at number 2. I love it when I see a show I host on here a couple times, because a lot of times shit I do just doesn't pop up on here. It's the other shows. But I got a couple shows here in the top 2, which makes me pretty happy. We got another episode of Last Roundup Horror Show. This is episode 57. It's the last one we released. We cover Slaughter High, Sleepaway Camp, Wishmaster, and Bubba Hotep. It's a really fun episode. It's always great when we get to watch a bunch of good movies, and that's what we did this time. Check it out. Wishmaster is more about monologues than anything else. There's whenever he gets
super villain.
Yeah, when he has after he kills Reggie Bannister, and then he has this interaction with Buck Flowers because he's the one that wanted him dead, and he just runs off. And while he's running off, he says this whole thing, and I wrote it down. Run, insect, run, and tell those you will what you will. Tell them there is something loose in their city, something which feeds on wishes. And this dude's fucking all the way down the street. And then he takes
He's Cobra Commander.
He takes this long drag off this cigarette, and then he comes back and tell them quickly while you still have a soul.
Yeah.
That dude's all the way 2 blocks down before he's even done. All right, number 1 spot. Here we are. Murder Fluent. This is a show that I do with my wife, Martha. We used to do a show called Force Fed, but that was trying on our relationship because it was Schlockfest, but we would take turns picking stuff for, we don't like the same shit. Like, she loves, dramas and rom-coms. I love horror, comedy. It's like, and she likes some comedy too, but I like, a lot of comedy, like a lot of goofball ass shit, a lot of really cheesy horror. So, like, it was, us picking shit that the other person didn't really like most of the time. So we decided to do this, just to have a project to work together, because it's fun to work with her, to be honest. I do, I'm one of those people that loves his wife. So take it like you will. Brothers. Anyways, episode 1. This is our first episode. We have another new one coming out. So, it's probably out. It's definitely out. Check that out. Follow our page, Murder Fluent, on Facebook. This is the first episode about Ed Kemper, the co-ed killer, with the creepiest mustache you've ever seen. I think he defined like the pedophile mustache. Check it out.
When he was asked about why did he always decapitate his victims, he said, the head trip fantasies were a bit like a trophy. The head is where everything is at. The brain, eyes, mouth, that's the person. I remember being told as a kid, you cut off the head and the body dies. The body is nothing after the head is cut off. Well, that's not quite true. There's a lot left in the girl's body without the head. Nice guy. Really nice.
I mean, he's coming up with reasons for everything he does. Like,
and that's like, if you listen to those interviews, you can see he blames this all on his mother. And to a degree, I do feel like his mother played a huge role in this, and it was partially her fault. Because as a parent, you have a responsibility and she was not fulfilling her duties as a mother to him.
Yeah, she
Not even
wasn't doing
close.
anything. She wasn't doing anything. It seems like, except for running him into the ground constantly. That's all that was happening.
Nothing good. That's for sure. Yeah, constantly. Yeah. So, April 20th, 1973, good old Clarnell, and she's going by Strandberg at this point. She's 52 years old. She's been out for a night at the bar. She's coming home. She's drunk, and she wakes Ed up as she comes in. She's in her room reading a paperback, he says, just like a normal thing. He comes in to see what's up. You know, she's woken him up, and she says, I suppose you're going to want to sit up all night and talk now. And that really hurt his feelings. And like, when he talked about this in an interview, this is the only time I ever see him get choked up. Like, he actually, it like brings emotion from him for the first time. I mean, he's very level and nonchalant about everything else that he's talked about until this point.
I knew a week before she died I was going to kill her. And she went out to a party, she got soused, she came home, went to sleep. I was woken up by that, came out, I walked up to her bed, she's laying there reading a paperback. As many thousands of nights before. And she said, oh, I suppose you're going to want to sit up all night and talk now. Shit. And I looked at her and I said, no. I said, good night. And I knew I was going to kill her. You know? And I'm so cold, it's so hard. And that's the first time in 10 years I've looked at it that way. I mean, that intensely, that honestly. It hurts. Because I'm not a lizard, I'm not from under a rock. I came out of her vagina. See? I came out of my mother. And in a rage, I went right back in. For 7 years, she said, I haven't had sex with a man because of you. My murderous son is one of our arguments. I cut off her head. And I humiliated her corpse. It's there. You know? A 6 young woman dead because of the way she raises her son and the way her son is raised, the way he grows up. And what's her closing words? I suppose you want to sit up all night and talk. God, I wish I had.
Well, clearly his mom was like...
And he said to her just, no, good night.
Clearly his mom was the most important thing in his world. Like, her opinion, everything affected him so much. I mean, every single thing. Right. So her saying something like that after he's dealt with her being so terrible and still wanting to hang out and talk to her all night, you know,
his entire life.
You know, that is loving your mother. I mean, too much. But then also on the other end,
taking it too far, maybe.
Hating her with the same fervor. All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you're watching the video version of this, I'm going to try to do this as much as I can. We've got so many shows going now that it's going to be more difficult for me to put out these like sampler platter kind of episodes. I just want everybody to enjoy what we're doing here because we're really, trying. You know, we're really trying our best to have a feasible network of local podcast creators, and I think we're doing some really cool stuff. I love every show we do. You know, something about sports. I don't even like sports, but I love doing that show with Jake. Jake's a good guy, good friend. We're all friends, family. You know, join the ZTOTV family. If you have an idea for a podcast, get a hold of us, zombietakeovertelevision@gmail.com. You can direct message our Facebook page. If you want to be a podcaster on our network, you don't have to be from Ohio. John from the horror show, he's not from Ohio. We're branching out. The zombie takeover. It starts local, and we're thinking global. Let's do what we can do. Let's make some cool shit. Thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, share, review, rate, all that bullshit. Ring-a-ding the bell, whatever the fuck you gotta do. Thank you.